If you mess up your first 90 days as an executive assistant, there's a high possibility that you might never recover from it in that company. I mean, as a new executive assistant, you walk into the office, you're handed over the laptop, and everybody expects you to figure it out. Which, to be honest, most times is usually very, very, very difficult. But don't worry, today I'm going to be explaining everything you need to do in your first 90 days as a new executive assistant to make it easy for you to blend into the company. Hello, this is Boss Behind the Boss, where we're helping you boss up as an EA. Now, to be honest, most times you just resume and after you're giving your offer letter, you give the laptop and boom, everybody just expects you to start getting stuff figured out. No game plan, no structure. And if you're lucky to have a handover note there, good for you. But if not, it can get really, really confusing. Now, the first thing you need to do in your first 90 days as an executive assistant is to try to blend into the company, try to relate with people. You need to be approachable as an executive assistant, right? So try to communicate with your colleagues, get to know people, get to know who works with your executive, and get to know who is their direct report or anything like that, right? Aside that, you also need to study your boss. Before you even study your boss, you should have a one-on-one meeting conversation with him to understand his preferences, to understand what he likes and what he doesn't like, to understand his work style and all of those things, right? You need to have those conversations so that you're able to pinpoint what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Now, beyond that, you need to study your executive very, very, very well. I know that a lot of EAs, especially if they have worked previously in a former company, right? You come into a new role in a new company as a new executive assistant, and you come with the same mentality from the previous company, or you come treating your new boss as you're treating the former boss. Everyone is different, and as an executive assistant, you need to be able to differentiate and know and understand your new boss, the new person you're working with. So you're able to work with their preferred work style, with how they like to be spoken to, how they like to be communicated to, if they prefer phone calls, prefer emails, prefer text messages. Those are things that you need to study, and you need to put it down in something I like to call your EA Bible, right? It's a document that you need to create from your first day at work, where you can dump in everything that you discover from the company. So you have a tab for your executive, you have a tab for his direct reports, you have a tab for everybody that you're going to report to, everybody you're going to communicate to. That's going to help you ease into the company as smooth as possible. Now, aside that, you need to get access to everything. Now, I'm talking about your first 30 days, right? We have broken this down into 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, into 3 parts. So your first 30 days, this is where you need to get access to everything. You don't come by week 5 and start saying, oh, I didn't get the login to this, I didn't get the login to that. No. You need to get access to emails, calendar, and everything that you're going to be working with. I've put together a checklist of everything that you need to get as a new executive assistant once you start your role. I'm going to link that in this video, and you can have access to it, go through it, and make your life easier. Beyond that, just like I've said, you need to form alliances within the company. Learn the company culture, get close to the HR, get close to the IT guy, because those people that you think that, well, you don't exactly shouldn't be relating to are people that will save you when the chips are down, pretty much. So you need to get close to them, you need to study them, you need to understand how they work as well, so you can be able to relate to them better. Because beyond managing your executive, honestly, you're also going to be managing the team. So you don't want to be that executive assistant that doesn't talk to anybody, and it's going to make your job really, really difficult. Trust me. The final thing I'm going to talk about for the first 30 days is to celebrate your small wins. Don't go hard on yourself. Whatever it is that you achieve for the first 30 days, you need to celebrate it. In your EA Bible, create a tab for every little thing that you're able to achieve, because in the long run, that's going to come in very handy. Or you need to give yourself time to learn, give yourself grace. And that's why I'm talking about 90 days. I'm not saying what you need to do in your first 30 days, right? Because 90 days is when you're expected to have settled into the company and understand everything that's going on within the company. So give yourself the grace and celebrate every little win. Now you know everything about the company. Maybe not everything, but a lot about the company in your first 30 days. You know the company culture, you've studied the executive, you know their preferences, and you know a couple of things. Now we're moving to the next 30 days, which I call the strategy era. Now, this is where you start showing yourself as the boss behind the boss. You need to start taking initiative. You need to, you know, provide solutions to problems. You need to be able to think on your own. This is when you start being really, really, really proactive. The executive expects that you're able to, you know, think on your own from the next 30 days. That's from maybe 60 days into the role, right? So at this point, you really do not have any excuse to say, oh, I don't really understand this, or I don't really understand that. You can ask questions. You can still ask questions, of course. I mean, at any point, actually, you can ask questions, but you need to be proactive. You don't need to wait to be told what to do, right? You need to be able to think outside the box. You need to be able to think on the spot. Now, you also need to schedule a one-on-one feedback section with your executive. I think this is where a lot of EAs miss it. You just keep going and going and going and going, and you don't even know if you're doing well or if you're not doing well. So, after the next 30 days and close to the end of the 60 days, schedule a one-on-one section with your executive. Ask them how you've been performing. You need to know how you've been performing in your role, what you need to do better, how you can improve, how you can work with them better, if you're communicating well, if there's something you're missing on. This would help you improve on the job. Trust me, it does wonders. That's the word. It does wonders. It will help you improve, and it will also make your executive see you as someone that they can trust, right? I have another video where I'm going to talk about how to gain your executive's trust as a new executive assistant. But this is definitely one of them. Being able to think proactively, schedule one-on-one meetings, and being able to take initiative, think on your own, provide solutions to problems. This is your strategy area. So you need to do all of that. And then let's move to the next 90 days. The final phase of your first 90 days as an executive assistant is what I term the influence era. Now you've moved from the newbie EA to the person that everybody on the team relies on and really cannot do without. So this is the time to build your reputation. This is the time to be on the lips of everybody. So when the COO asks who fixed this, or the CEO asks who fixed this, or the finance person says, oh, who can I meet for this? Let you be the go-to person for most people. For not everybody, because really you cannot be there for everybody. For most people on the team, you need to be very strategic at this point. This is where you position yourself as a good leader, as somebody that is able to manage a team and build a team, as somebody that is very strategic, somebody that you're not just taking orders, you're not just managing calendars, you're not just looking through the to-do list. You're also being very, very strategic. So just like I said previously, take initiative, but now go all in, because at this point nobody is seeing you as a newbie anymore. Like I said, you're in your influence era. This is where you need to change things. This is where you need to come up with ideas. This is where you need to say, oh, this is something I've noticed within the company, and I think if we use this tool, or if we do this to make things easier for us, or if we do this to make things better for us, this is where you start suggesting all of those things, and also follow through to ensure that they're implemented. So it's not just about suggesting. You need to follow through to ensure that all of these things are implemented. Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about for your first 90 days as an EA is to set boundaries. I know you want to please your boss. I know you want to be the best person. You want to be the go-to person. Awesome. But you can do that while setting boundaries. You don't want to break down. You don't want to get to the point where 90 days after, you can no longer say no to stuff. Now, you need to learn how to turn down requests from team members or even your boss, but in a very, very polite way. So, for example, if you're given a task to do and then you know that it's not possible to get it done within the timeline, you can say something like, can I deliver this in the next 24 hours or 48 hours, right? so that it gives me enough time to research and whatever. That's an easy way to put less pressure on yourself. So set boundaries early, very important. A lot of EAs miss this, and I missed it too when I started, to be honest. But you need to set clear boundaries so that you can have your personal time as an executive assistant. You can also have time for personal development and all of that. And there you have it, your secret 90-day playbook from boss behind the boss as a new executive assistant. So no more I don't know what I'm doing, no more I'm just figuring it out, no more however it goes. Now you're showing up strategic because you know what to do at every point in time. You know what to do in the first 30 days, first 60 days, and first 90 days as a new executive assistant. Now, if you found this helpful, like, comment, share, turn on the notification bell, subscribe, and tell me in the comment section what you're going to be doing for the next 90 days. Don't forget, you're not just an assistant, but the boss behind the boss. See you in the next one.